Nice. Hello, welcome to Court of the Rings on twitch.tv/LotraStream. What you heard there, if you were watching the coming soon screen, is a final track from Kingdoms of Harad. My understanding is this is some general exploration music that you'll see in one of the regions. So thank you so much, Bill, for allowing me to share this with you here today. I guess it got done early enough that he was like, all right, if you want to tease it, send it out. So yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome to Court of the Rings. We're going to talk Locho here for the next hour. Really have any questions on your mind? We announced the pre-purchase has begun for our latest expansion. So we're going to be looking at some of the goodies and things here in just a little bit. And really it's about the latest news and a little bit of gameplay. And like I said, we're just really in the world. We're just going to show the bits from the packages and all that sort of things. If you want to take a look at that, go ahead. There's some plenty of good videos though already out about this on like YouTube and Twitch and any of your social networks. Thank you to all the Locho creators who have put together really good videos on that too. So this honestly is going to be a more casual show today because I'm just kind of hanging out with you. I'm here to answer your questions, here to have the latest news about I'll talk a little bit about, for example, Bull Roar. I'll have that in just a little bit. A few other bits and bobs too. So it's been a busy time in Lotro, and it's going to be a busy week ahead as well. So let's get to it all. Why don't we start with look at our new expansion here? Just a second. It has been a busy week. So, you know what that means. That means I'm less prepared than some other times. But that's because I've been doing stuff. I have been publishing a lot this week and working on other publishing as well that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But if you go to locher.com, you will see our pre-purchase page for Kingdoms of Harad. This is main landing page, Kingdoms of Harad, and there you go. Available fall 2025. We got some spoilers on that later on in this page. We do have a teaser trailer up as well that's been doing pretty good numbers on YouTube, and we really appreciate all the feedback we have been receiving on that. Mostly positive. Kingdoms of Harad, where sun and shadows meet. They stand at a crossroads, rivalry sharpening as a greater threat gathers strength. Gandalf has come with a warning of a darkness rising in the south. The Tharduth, ancient servants of Morgoth, rise once more, harnessing powers that could unmake the balance of Middle-earth. Rally the kindred of the coin, along with the fierce Mizadi, Shara of renewed Hamat, as... Sorry, my glasses. As rival kingdoms clash and old grudges resurface. From arid wastelands, blighted forests, and perilous ruins, war looms on every horizon. Who will arise to lead the kingdoms of Harad against the coming darkness or deeper into it? So, key features here for our expansion is this is a bit of a spoiler that we've been hanging on to for a while here. This concludes the Song of Waves and Winds. So we've been leading up to this, and you're going to get to see it here. Probably sometime on or around December 3rd. If or not. We'll see how that goes. We're also increasing our level cap to 160. More regions, hundreds of quests, and a bunch more as well. Fully voiced storytelling. A lot of VO this time around. And that's really all there is to it. You can go to the page to get all the gory details about the various editions and what have you. I think most of the questions seem to not be there this time. People, for the most part, have figured out our expansions here. The one bit that I have seen is the question about the 150 level up package versus the level 150 Valar package. Basically, the Valar package comes with more stuff, and yes, you do get 2 level 150 level up items, and they are bound to account. So That's how that works. And that was really about the only question I saw from the community on that one. Otherwise, I think pretty much everything is pretty standard as it goes at this point, and we'll be taking a look at that here in just a little bit. But you can take a look at this page. This is on our Locher Market expansion page, per usual. And you can take a look at that as you want to. Let me head back quick to my main cam and see what kind of questions I have from you. And actually, real quick, I'm going to turn my camera off real quick. I haven't grabbed my coffee. It's still sitting in the kitchen. And I need to correct this error in judgment immediately. So I will be back in like 20 seconds. There we go. Nothing to see here. I just grabbed some coffee. No, not for past quests. Basically, what we're saying is there's a lot more voice acting in this expansion, to the point that we're considering it a feature of the expansion. And that means a lot more sort of immersive audio storytelling. You like the Ghost? Yeah, that was actually a cheapie. You can get it all over the United States here right now at all one of the big monster retail stores. And it was only a couple bucks, and I was like, well, that's about the cutest thing ever. It's a little disco ghost or something. So, yes. So, on the camel mounts that we're going to see here in just a second, we do have some polish work that's going in. One will be for the next game update, and the rest will probably be something like launch. We're going to you will have the ability to do a whole bunch of emotes and stuff while mounted, and that's not ready yet. But part of the halo of that is part of the bugs that you're seeing right now. So that'll get polished up really in time for launch, and then with launch, you'll see even more there. So that's the deal with that. Will the new crafting tier have at least a basic level 160 crafted gear set? I don't know. That's a question for someone like Orion. I think he would probably know more about that than I would, or at least know who to talk to about that. I haven't gotten that granular with it, I guess I would say yet. I don't know. With the new expansion, if you buy the lower tier, will customer support help to buy the higher tiers to upgrade? I can't speak to customer support work that may happen in the past. I would say buy the tier you want, but you can purchase expansions on the path that's in the market there. So I don't think you need CS support for that. All right. I think I'm actually caught up on chat. Will boars be revisited for mount animations at some stage as well? I have not heard of plans to do a polish on boar mounts. I am also of the impression they're in generally good shape, although now that I've said that, I don't know that I've ridden a boar mount all in a while, so I would need to take a look. All right. Well, let me actually get in game, and let's just start taking a look at some of this. Oh, before I do that, well, I'll do this anyway, but I do, in fact, have other news to get to. Why don't I do that? A couple of things I did want to mention is we do have a busy week ahead in regard to events, because this weekend is the final weekend for the Baggins birthday event. So if you have not yet run the Baggins birthday event, this is your weekend to do that. Remember, there's two parts to it. One could be done once on a character. That's the first part that's in Rivendell. But then there's the second part, which is in Aaron Laskelin? I don't know, look it up on the wiki real quick. But there's a second part too, and that you can do once every year. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do that. The name was on the tip of my tongue going live, and now I've forgotten it when I'm actually on the air. Good job, me, but whatever. That one will get solved quickly enough. Will we ever see boars in festivals, such as a white boar for Yule? I would imagine that seems possible at some point. We haven't really done boars in a while. That was really, I think, in part a reaction to the content that was being made at the time and the desire to kind of have an alternate to a goat mount. But that's not to say we couldn't do something like a white boar for Yuletide, and that sounds pretty cool. So, sure, I would say that's certainly possible. Will we be able to rename LI weapons without reforging in the future? You bought the Ultimate Edition, received your LI weapons, but have no way of changing the name on them. I would need to ask. I don't know. I have not heard about LI naming in quite some time. Not since we initially launched, really, the modern LI work that we've done. So I would need to look into that. When will pre-purchase be gone? In general, never. The way that we do our pre-purchase is that it just rolls into live when it's live. So, and we don't do, like, say, pre-purchase exclusives. It is earlier access than usual to content, like the things that we will be seeing here very shortly. But in general, it goes from pre-purchase to live, and you just can buy it if you want. So I guess that would be the day of launch, which is, according to our website, December 3rd. We have not always hit that date. There's also text about how late it could be delayed and things. But something like that, early mid-December is when this is going to launch. All right, let's take a look. So I already undid a whole bunch of these packs here, and a lot of this I'm not going to do on camera. Like, I'm going to assign my virtue and that I'm going to take the time to do that off camera when I can really just sort of stare at my chart and figure out what I want to do there. But we'll take a look at the cosmetics and that. But I did want to just show off that you do get a bunch of stuff here, like virtue acceleration tomes and rep acceleration tomes and what have you. All right, so the Golden Passage milestone style emote, that's milestone underscore gold passage. So we'll try that. All right, and why don't we pop on over to Angmar here. Yes, so related to Bull Roarer test coming, the earliest we are looking at here would be something like, not next week, perhaps the week after that. So we'll see when we actually, where it falls, but it could be something like the week of October 5th. We could be ready to do our first Update 46 Bull Roarer. I would note that this is going to piggyback with a bunch of Casual Stroll live streams here on Twitch. If you were around yesterday, you'll know that Ryan and Scenario did their We Have a Cave Troll live stream, and I got that up on our YouTube channel yesterday evening. But that's really kicking off a series of previews that we're going to be doing in the coming month or so for Kingdoms of Harad. So every Wednesday for the next 4 weeks, 2 p.m. Eastern, or not, I've got the schedule on our Discord here. It's either every Wednesday or close-ish to every Wednesday. Let me look up my own announcement. Yes, every Wednesday in October here, we're going to be doing a Casual Stroll. It'll kick off something like October 1st, so that's next week. 2 p.m. Eastern, next Wednesday. We're going to be taking a look at a game. On the 8th, it'll be Keegan. 15th will be Ansharu. 22nd will be Idagal. And 29th will be through some of the instances, interiors, etc. And then, we have something until through December 3rd to create preview content for. So in November, we'll be doing Extra Life, but we'll also be doing things like some perhaps dev chats. I'd like to maybe do a lore chat. We'll be well into the Bull Roar preview cycle by that point, what have you. But the rough idea is that these live streams are going to be the predecessor of the following preview that you'll see on Bull Roar. So if everything works out, fingers crossed, it's never going to work out, but it's going to work out. And so October 1st will be at a game, and then the week following will be the Bull Roar preview of it, and then Keegan, and then following Bull Roar preview of it. Something like that is the idea, as we preview the regions and ultimately then the instances and things like that. Now, per usual, you're not going to see Song of Waves and Wind stuff. We're keeping the the story under wraps, but you'll see other things too throughout the Bull Roar preview cycle there. Okay, let me head back to where I was. Let me get ready to show the front of the. Oops, right there. There, you can see the scroll unfurl. Well, I hate to say this, Sam, asking whether I look forward to the days when when I can easily pronounce and accurately pronounce everything. But the reality is those days will never come. I'm just lucky I say Brie correctly. Alright. Let's take a look at some of the cosmetics here. Something a little more fun to look at. Meanwhile, I'll continue to talk about the news. So right now I've got the Jaunty Patrons Coffer on, and I would note that this is the final weekend for the Jaunty Patrons Coffer in the Lotro store. So if you want to get this Jaunty Patrons Coffer, and it's got a cool milestone skill too, you have through September 28th to get that done. Now, per usual, we probably will be bringing it back, but it's not going to be for quite some time. So if you want it, this is your weekend to pick up the Jaunty Patrons Coffer. That's what I'm wearing right now. We're going to swap on over, though, to the new cosmetics that are in the expansion. So, let us start with the Golden Lion outfit. So I'm going to put on the Golden Lion cloak. Let me make sure I got... There we go. This is going to sort of make more sense as it all falls into place. Let's get those boots on. The pauldrons. The armor. The helm, although I usually keep my helms off. That's just a me thing. And then the armbands. However, for this one, it's got that face thing on it. So let's just let's roll with this and take a look. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. It's been a very busy week, but I think we're getting a lot done, and we saw some good accomplishments this week, both on game performance and other things. And I will get to that as well during our chat here today. But for the moment, I wanted to not just talk to the camera. I don't know how y'all do it. When I try to watch my show afterwards, I have to be honest. When I have to watch my show afterwards, it's like 20 minutes of just me talking. I can't do it. I can't watch myself like that. But I wanted to actually try to do gameplay while I talk or something, because I don't know. But okay, Boots of the Vigilant Sentinel. Let's take a look at that. Do not recommend you trying to watch your own content on a regular basis. Alright. Except you have to, which is why I do it. Alright, Boots of the Vigilant Sentinel. That is quite the faceplate. Oh, unfortunately, I still have the cloak on. Let's solve that. The cloak is over here. Yeah, Cloak of the Vigilant Sentinel. There we are. When is it expected that the, quote, missing housing issue is targeted to get resolved? So that's a very broad term, missing housing issue. But if you do have a ticket in with CS, then it'll get resolved as soon as it can be. Yeah, I really can't speak more to it than that, other than we have seen work by CS throughout the week here. Throughout the past couple of weeks. And one of the other pieces we're working to do is to bring back the 32-bit game worlds as dark worlds, and the ability that's also going to open up a whole bunch of resolution paths for CS as well. So my guess is that if you have an outstanding housing issue, they'll work through it in the coming weeks. Yeah, so Seaman C, you can rename your LI on a Reforge, and that's true. The question was a method to do it without reforging. And that, I don't know. I don't know what our ability to just do custom names without a Reforge is on that. The cat-like mask I had on a second ago is the other outfit that's available with your pre-purchase of Kingdoms of Harad, based on the tier you get. And I can swap back to that in a second. I think that one is perhaps a little more of a daily driver, shall we say, for someone like Stampion. So I think we're gonna swap back over to the Golden Lion outfit, and that's the one that you were talking about here. I would note that we had some interesting wardrobe space news on the forums this week, which is that we have been able to do some work to offer a whole bunch more space, and I will be very thrilled when we start doing that. And my understanding is that'll be with update 46. So there's some of the expansion pre-purchase, but then also this is going to allow us to do a bunch more in the future, and that's nothing but good. Okay, let's move on then from the outfits here real quick. Let's show the baubles. So, Vigilant Cobra bauble skill, and then the What's in the Basket bauble. We will take a look at the Vigilant Cobra bauble here first. Basically adds a scary looking cobra. And then let's swap over to the What's in the Basket. Rah! So those are those baubles here. Alright. We have got the Tome of the Baby Camel. This is the pet. Bring that out. Alright, and then we have the other pet here, which is the Vigilant Cobra. Okie dokie. Now let's look at the camel, the one that people have been talking about here. So. We'll ride around a little bit here. While I look at some more chat. I meant outfit slots. Yeah, I meant outfit slots. Well, I meant the thing that Celestrata talked about on the forums. That's what I meant. Whatever that is. It's been a busy week. But it's still an unblock that that was a big piece of being able to offer a whole bunch more of everything. The wardrobe, if I remember, the main issue with outfit slots is it's a UI rework issue, which means that we need to do that UI rework in order to be able to offer more outfit slots. There may also be some performance work involved, but it's mostly a UI and associated systems as a result of the UI adjustment work that needs to take place. So. All right, well, we have gone around a little bit. What else we got to look at? We have got the Vigilant Camel, which is a different one. So, let's take a look at that. Different looking camel. I mean, it sounds like. Well, let me look up what did Celestrata say on the forums here. If that's what y'all want to talk about, let me get up to speed real quick. The extra outfit slot is indeed a full extra outfit slot and will take you beyond the current limit of 8. The expansion will introduce a change that will allow outfit slots to go above 8 within the UI and related systems. After the expansion launches, more slots will be made available through various ways. This is just the first. And that can be found here. Okay, I did want to call out real quick that we do have events. So I already said that this is the final weekend for the Baggins birthday event. I want to point out that next week we've got 3 events that are happening. The first is the Buried Treasure event. That kicks off at 10 a.m. Eastern on the 1st, and that runs through October 5th. The Hardtack Crafting event comes back, as usual on the 1st, running through the 7th. And then Hobnanigans is back on the 2nd, running through the 5th. So all 3 of those happen next week, and then the following week is Harvest Math. That Wednesday as well, so the 8th of October is when we have our next scheduled game update, and that game update will be bug fixes and other work, in addition to most likely the Harvest Math itemization and things like that. So, Harvest Math Festival will kick off on the 9th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and that goes all the way through October through November 2nd. And we'll have a guide update with some screenshots and things, not next week, but it'll be for the week after that. So, a lot happening in the Lord of the Rings Online in terms of events, both this weekend and next week as well. I did want to mention real quick, I want to put this up on the screen just so you get an opportunity to see it. that the update 45.5 release did happen this week. You can find the release notes over on Lotra.com. Main things in it are, of course, the pre-purchase for Kingdom of Harad, which you can learn a whole bunch more about. The Bane of Rune is now on Angmar and Mordor. This is really something that was going to happen initially with the level cap increase in August, but there was an issue with this particular ring wraith, so this update was able to introduce the Bane of Rune now to Angmar and Mordor. And you can learn more about the Veil of the Nine mechanic and the ring wraiths fights if you want to, with a link through the release notes. The final bit I want to get to here is that Filbert Fig and Adventurers and Travelers Steelbound loot boxes have been updated. But not just that. This is the update. Let me put this on the screen here real quick. We had probably one of our cutest ever pets. IMO. Except I'm not wrong. I mean, look at that thing. Are you telling me if this thing shows up knocking at your door, you're not going to give it some porridge? Or something? You're not going to be like, well, I don't know, you need someone to drive you across country. I guess we're doing that then. So, you know. This thing was so cute that originally I think this was supposed to be the image for the key art, except what I called an audible when I was staging this thing, and I was like, there's no way this thing is not being front and center in this article. So anyway, that happened though. So you can get this stuff with Filbert Fig and in loot boxes. We have these fish kites and a whole bunch of things here too, birding outfits and what have you. The things that are available only in loot boxes is the Tome of the Sandpiper, that little birdie there, and then the map of Middle Earth. However, keep in mind, the way we do this rotation is things that were loot box only in prior years come back next time around, available for barter. So last year's version of this, the Sophisticated Birders pack and the Tome of the Sophisticated Magpie are now available for barter. So you can get it in the loot box right now, you pick it up and barter probably something like next year, and you can just pick up all this other stuff here from Filbert Fig. And you can find this list and these articles and these screenshots over on Lotro.com. It'll be for barter next year. So if you don't get loot box luck or you don't want to do that, you'll get your chance. You'll get your chance. All right. That's from the Jaunty Pack. There is a carry-all selection box that you get to pick from. I don't know what I want. As you can see, I kind of have a whole bunch of carry-alls in this character here, so I think I might just pop this into my account bank and give it to an alt or something like that. That's why this is sitting there. But you get one of those. There's also the, like I say, the Valar level boost package. This is the one that gets you a whole bunch of stuff. I'm not opening that because I am level 150, of course, in this character. So all this is just going to be going into my shared account bank for an alt here in just a little bit. There's also then, this isn't really quite coming through, I got the level up 150 item, and there's also the earring, which I'll probably equip when I can get 10 levels of XP from it. So that is a look, I think, on the pre-purchase here. Let's do a little what have you questing or something and bum around.
This valley belongs to the Shagani and no one else.
What say you, traveler?
I have not just done a lot of the rando questing around yet. We were really focusing on stream on the Crown of Hamat storyline, so I've got a ton of stuff that I can do here when I want to. So I thought, why don't we just bum around for this final 20 minutes of show and do that? Because the other thing I was thinking about doing is I could
It is a new day.
I could do the Bill Baggins Part 2 bit, but I've done that a few times on stream over the years. So I felt like maybe I wouldn't do that for today's show.
This valley belongs to the Shagani and no one else.
Any news about the new creep class for the next Bullroarer test? You were talking about the Angmar sorcerer, right? And so I have not heard about that. Our Bullroarer focus is going to be on Kingdoms of Harad, not the Angmar sorcerer. But as that class is getting developed, we will for sure be doing previews of it on Bullroarer. However, this next cycle, it might be available, but I would actually expect it to perhaps be either its own separate preview outside of Kingdoms of Harad, or perhaps after Kingdoms of Harad get its preview. I don't know what the current timeline is for it. I would point out, we did have this on the coming soon screen, but if you joined me afterwards, I do want to make sure that you let your friends know about... Did this not... Why I'm not quite seeing it. Okay, so all the others must just be in town here. Question about Angmar server. Now that Rune is out, are all the old ring wraiths still going to spawn, or did any of them get cycled out? What has been the pattern to date with that would be my suggestion on future guidance. So... they will cycle in and out over time, and eventually we intend to have really all of them available. But where we currently sit on that, I guess I'm a little less confident on at this Friday. Have we taken any away to date? We wanted to leave open the option to, but that would mostly be for, I don't know, lore or story reasons that we'd have to have a reason for when we got to it. Similar to what I just said, Yusuf, in general, any kind of pattern we establish only is a pattern to the extent that we want it to be. So just because we've done something in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it's a guarantee for the future. But in general, I think we've set a pretty standard cadence at this point related to how we do our level caps. You know, we've been doing every other year now for quite some time now, haven't we? So, you know, it's best guidance really is we'll probably keep doing that.
What say you, traveler?
I don't know that I had anything super new on Angmar. I think that's pretty much always been the plan. But like I said, I would need to... someone who's more regular on Angmar, just help me out. Have we taken away any of the ring race to date? I don't think so, right? My gut says no, but My mind says, wait a second, you have no idea whether we have or not. So someone tell me if you want. I don't think we have, though. Or did we? Did we for Moria? Okay, that makes sense, because I remember this coming up during Moria about something about who should spawn or not spawn, so. Well, and the bug is, well, that's true, we did do the one with bugs, but including this one, right? Because the Bane of Ruin was originally, in theory, set to go live, which is maybe how it ended up on that article. Anyway. But... Yes, so Ungermax, thank you for using that Explorer World coupon, and I really do want to encourage every single person within the sound of my voice who has any interest whatsoever in the Lord of the Rings, really, just create a free game account and apply this coupon code, because you want to, even if you don't maybe know that you want to, because it gets you so much free stuff. I mean, it's so good, right? So...
What say you, traveler?
I say apply the coupon code. That's what I say. Can I show off what is new in the loot boxes? In theory, I can't right now. Maybe next week I can. And the reason for that is I'm not in a position to be able to create all the items on this particular, like, just right now. I can't just start start creating the various items for you in my inventory. I would need to swap over to my admin account for one, but then I would also need to do some preparatory work before I did something like that. So... next week is an answer to that. I should be able to show it off. I figured with all the pre-purchase and everything like that, that perhaps it was not necessary this week. This is just a regular play account. Yes, I did not have to buy my own expansion. We get the expansion for free. If you work for Standing Stone Games, you get the expansion for free. For you know. Hello, suspicious citizen.
This valley belongs to the Shagani, and no one else.
Right, construct tents and stop looters. Need to find a few more suspicious folks, I think. Let's do that. Nope, too far. Okay. Nope, there we go. Nice. Stampion is a champion. Stampion is a stout axe champion. In the same way that Dwinstrel is a dwarven minstrel, Hurgler is a hobbit burglar. I have a pattern. I have a pattern. And I stick to it. It makes naming easy. My naming patterns are questionable at best. I mean, if the question is, what's an awesome name? Maybe. It works. I do it all the time. You know, basically, in any game I play, it's probably Mock Duck. If there's any kind of public name or something like that, it's going to be Mock Duck for personal stuff. But then if I need a whole bunch of names, then I have to start coming up with ideas. And so long ago with RPGs, I was just race class, you know. Mash it together, see if it works. 9 times out of 10, it totally does. And then if you really can't figure it out, you'll do something like River Hunter instead of, whatever a river Hobbit Hunter would be. I also have a whole bunch of missions to do.
Belongs to the Shagani and no one else.
Yeah, exactly right, Melf. Yep. Oh, I didn't even think about that, to be honest. That's an old D&D thing. I should have known that. Thought of that, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't always work, but, you know, if I was going to make a high elf lore master, it would probably be... Well, actually, no, I don't think that would work. I don't know what I would do. Yeah, there's a good example. I wouldn't know what to do. But it would be like Hariner, if it was a Hobbit Mariner. And if it was an elf, it would just be Hariner. ETC. Riverder? Yeah, that's not bad. The only exception I make is when I'm playing, like, single-player games. Like, say, maybe a single-player console game or something like that, and then I for sure am gonna pick a really dumb name. So that as people are seriously pontificating, the chat is like, you know, Toilet Head or something like that. So... But you can't use that for an MMO, and I wouldn't do that publicly. I do appreciate, though, that people take names seriously, and I'm not actually, I totally don't want to, like, minimize that or anything either, right? Because I love, like, lore-appropriate names that people come up with. That's just not the way I roll. I just make it easy on myself. But that said, I wouldn't deliberately choose something, say, offensive or truly terrible. So, like, if it really didn't work, then I won't. But I think Stampion works just fine. Sounds like a real name. I want to make sure I have got to all the... Did I get... No. Okay. Yep, here we go. Easy enough. Lyndelby fire pit items. The fire pit item sounds great. I have not. That would be a question for scenario. Probably a question from yesterday, but I bet you could ask it next Wednesday. It'll be on twitch.tv, Lotra stream, 2 p.m. Eastern, next Wednesday. It's the first of a series of casual stroll live streams that Scenario is going to be doing 4 Kingdoms of Harad,
Is
and
there something you need?
that sounds like an appropriate question, so do that. Feel free to tell him Cordovan promised that we were going to make one. I'm not actually promising we're going to make one. Tell him that Cordovan promised him we're going to make one. And when is it coming out? The reality, though, the not kind of snarky answer or anything, is that the art team and Scenario have so much that they want to always be adding in terms of housing and that. So it's never a matter of we don't want to do it, or that's not a good idea, or that wouldn't be awesome. It's always just a matter of how much can we fit into this pipeline. And that pipeline gets as much work as it can. So if we don't have a fire pit that makes particular sense for Lyndelby yet, that does in fact sound like something we absolutely should do. But I wouldn't want to make any kind of promise about its delivery, because the number of other things that would be also very much things that we need to do exist as well. And that's just sort of the nature of it. The Rohan fire pits are just a little too big. I would think we would probably have a whole bunch of fire pits that would make sense. We should do a whole line of fire pits. It's one of the more kind of likely things you're going to want to put in your yard now. But we have some. I know we have some amount of fire pit. But it's one of those things that, especially after you have been seeing that pipeline come and go for so many years, it does get a little tricky to remember what all has been released and what all hasn't been released and what have you. So if we're lacking in fire pits in general, I apologize. Or if we have a ton of them and I can only think of maybe the 1 or 2. Well, I think that's a great idea. Lyndelby Firepits for the win. Alright. Speaking of which, I think we have our show title. Lyndelby Firepits for the win. When you see it in chat, or you see it on YouTube, you'll know what I'm talking about. Escape the camp. Okay. I can do that. How do I escape the camp? With my little stampy feet. That's how I do it. Yes. So we will be doing our Extra Life Marathon. Most likely, I'm going to say... Okay. Here we are. No. So that would be November 8th is the answer. This year, however, it's going to be a little different. And the reason for that is I am actually going to be flying to the Extra Life Unlocked event this year. That's taking place in Salt Lake City, Utah. And it's really an event where the Extra Life organization meets for game day. And it's also an opportunity for me to meet people who have benefited from Extra Life, meet some of the Extra Life people themselves, get some interviews and content. It's not just for me, but other content creators will be there, YouTubers and Twitch streamers and things like that. And we'll have some level of interaction, I think, between me at the event and the Lotro team that presumably will be live streaming that day. I don't know if we're gonna... Every year I'm like, well, I wonder if we can do 12 hours, and then we end up with like 18 to 24 just because so many people want to get involved. And so we'll probably just do that again this year. So it'll probably be something like at least noon to midnight Eastern time, Saturday, November 8th on Lotro stream. And the event, the Extra Life Drive itself will be very, very similar to past years in terms of the community loot list, and if I can add a few new items to it, I will, or bring back a few returning items, which I think I will be doing. And then that runs through the end of the year. So, well, something like late October, we'll have all the details, and then November 8th will be the live stream, and then the charity drive itself runs through the end of the year. And just like with past years, if you've donated to Extra Life prior to the stream in 2025, like if you already went to someone's Extra Life stream, some Lotro streamer's Extra Life stream this summer or something like that, that counts. And you can send it in. So we take things pretty casual with Extra Life. Some year I'm going to have to tackle the community loot list because the one problem with it is it means I have to individually mail codes to everybody. And that's a lot. And it gets a lot more year after year. I think last year I hit up, 700 and some people? Something like that. And that's only sustainable up to a point. So some year I may have to change up the community loot list, but I don't think it'll be this year. So it should just run per usual. Alright. Quick recap of the news before I run out of things. I want to mention Kingdoms of Harad is available for pre-purchase. Filbert Fig and loot boxes have new stuff. There's a new ring wraith on Angmar and Mordor. We have got the Baggins birthday event running through Sunday. We have got the Buried Treasure event and Hobnanigans and the Hardtack crafting event happening next week. We are roughly targeting the week following for our first Kingdoms of Harad preview. Next Wednesday is the Casual Stroll series of live streams about Kingdom of Harad. So Kingdoms of Harad, so that'll be Wednesday, 2 p.m. And yeah, that's a lot. So, and then we got Harvest Math coming up here real quick too. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, giving us a like is the single best thing you can do to help spread the word about the channel, and we really do appreciate it. I will be back next Friday with more in Court of the Rings. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.